Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. My name is Ravinder. I'm an assistant professor with Electronics and Communication Department, and the video lectures which we are discussing in this particular series belongs to a particular subject called object, sorry, object technologies and programming in Java. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss a very special topic called interfaces. It's a very special kind of topic and very important kind of topic we are going to discuss today. And why? Because interfaces adds or defines the most essential type of behavior that a particular set of classes must implement. Let me repeat that again. Interfaces defines the most essential type of behavior a set of classes must implement. That is, let's take an example. Let's take an example. Let's say I have an interface and interface, and let me name that as human being, and we have three classes. First say belong to Indian, and next say belong to Chinese, and third say belong to Russian. Okay, so we have an interface. We have three classes called Indian, Chinese, and Russian. Now, individuals living in India have different kind of behavior to some extent, and individuals living in China have some other different kind of behavior, and individuals living in Russia, because of the conditions there, have different kind of daily life behavior in terms of doing work, in terms of timing and other stuff. But first of all, they're all human beings, and there are few things that all human beings must do in their daily life for surviving. The most common example is eating, having food. If you don't eat food and don't drink water, you will not be able to survive for more than few days. In case of water, it's going to be even less than that. So eating food and drinking water is a must behavior for every human being, irrespective of its locality, irrespective of its origin, the country of origin. But as we know, we Indians do some stuff differently than Chinese. We do eat, yes, but we do eat some other meals than Chinese do, and we do eat different kind of meals than Russians do, and then even Russians and Chinese don't eat to some extent different kind of foods. So all of us must eat. That has been defined by the interface. Okay, that has been defined by the interface. But how we are going to do that, or what we are going to eat on daily basis, is up to that particular individual, that particular from where he or she belongs. So this particular example will defines what an interface will do. So basically, an interface defines is what must be done, but it doesn't defines how it should be done. Okay, how it should be done. So let's go to the notes first, which have been already provided to you. An interface is a list of methods that must be defined by any class which implements that particular interface. So if we take our example, which I have already taken, let's say interface is human being and class be Indian. So if the Indian class is implementing the interface human being, then all the methods, all the functionality that is being defined in the interface must be implemented by the Indian class. And what I am trying to say will make more sense once I will take you to an example. But for the time's sake, it only tells you that okay, these kind of functionalities must be in an Indian class. What human being interface is telling you, but it is not telling you how it's going to implement those methods. So let's go again. So let's see what I am trying to tell you is these classes called Indian, Chinese, and Russian are surely going to implement the methods that are being defined in the interface human being, that is to eat. Let us suppose we have defined a method in the interface human beings which is saying that you must eat. The name could be to eat, but how they are going to eat it is different to Indian class, Chinese class, and Russian class, or what they are going to eat is different to Chinese class, Indian class, and Russian class. So clearly what I'm trying to say is interface defines that what you must do, but it doesn't defines how you should do it or how it should be done. Clearly human being is telling you you must eat, but it is not telling you how you should eat or what you should eat. Okay, so interface just adds behavior. Now how you are going to modify, how you are going to implement that behavior in your class is exactly or exclusive to any particular class. Okay, so let's take an example. Although I have already written an example here, because initially I have recorded a class and it was not recorded, unfortunately, so I will do it again. Once let's let's delete some of the functionality. Okay, we'll do this and let me do this also, and let me do this also, and also this. Okay. So first thing first, let us define how an interface looks like. For now, I will do this. The first thing first, how will you define an interface? The interface can be defined in Java by using the keyword called interface. All you have to do is start writing the access modifier, that is public, then space, then the keyword interface, then a space, and after that you can write the name of the interface, whatever be the name you want to give to your interface. As you can see, I am using camel casing, so it's recommended you should also do it. Now this interface must tell you that what should be done, but it must not tell you traditionally that how it should be done. And what I am trying to say to you will make sense after few minutes. Let me write first method. Let me define first. So I will write end that and the method name called next, or I will write it as get next. And that is it. What I have defined here is a method which returns a type called int. Its name is get next, and I am passing no arguments to it. So this is basically the signature of this particular method which has been defined in the interface. And a strange thing that you will notice is this method has no body. The reason is, as I have told you before, it tells you to get next element, but it doesn't tell you how you are going to get the next element. Let me first tell you what I'm trying to implement. What is the main behavior of this interface my series? Let me get to you first. Okay, let's get it. So I'm trying to implement a series. Now this series you must have seen in your logical reasoning subject. You must have seen something like 2 and then 4 and then 6 and then 8 and then 10 and then 12 and that like this. What is this series means? It means the first element is 2 and every next element of the series is being produced by adding 2 to its initial element. That is, this element 2, its next element will be tracked, or it will be produced by adding 2 to this particular element. So what I have done is I have taken this particular element, add 2 to it, and that will give me my next element called 4. And then 4 plus 2 give me 6, and then a 6 plus 2 will give me 8, and then 8 plus 2 will give me 10, and then 10 plus 2 will give me 12. So this is the kind of series you must have seen in your mathematics and logical reasoning classes. So we're trying to implement this via the help of Java, and in Java also via the help of interfaces that we are going studying right. So get next method will always get you the next element of the series. So we'll add one more method called let's say restart, and the signature of this method tells me that it is not going to return anything, and its name is restart, and I am not going to pass any arguments to it. Okay, what this particular method will do in my view is, suppose if you want your application to run, then you have called an object and it starts returning you elements, start printing next elements of the series, and after a while, say after 10, it comes to your mind, okay, you are not getting it, what is going on? Okay, so you want to start from the beginning. So by calling this particular method that I have just defined in the interface called restart, it will again start print from the beginning. It's just a restart button that you must have seen in many of the electronics hardware. That is it. Let's get back. And last method is void start, and I will pass one argument, and that is it. Now this method has a signature that it will return nothing. Its name is start, but it will accept one argument called x, and that is of type int. Now my view of this method is, what if I want to start my series from 8 instead of 2? So I will pass this element 8 to the method, and it will start printing the series from 8. So 8, then 10, then 12, then 14, then 16, and so on. Okay, so that is my view of this. Now you have seen that I have defined an interface called my series and 3 method definitions in it. Those are only definitions and they got no functionality, as they have got no method body. By default, all these methods here are actually public by default. Okay, just give me a second. So okay, now we are going to implement this particular interface by using class. So I've defined a class. It has been named by 3 by me. Now how I'm going to implement my interface? By using the keyword implements. Okay, the keyword implements followed by the interface my series, and that is it. Now, according to this particular signature, the class which has been named by 3 is implementing the interface called my series, which we have just defined. Okay, now it is showing some error because I haven't implemented any of the methods that is being defined in the interface yet in this class. And yes, this is an obligation. What I'm trying to say is it is an obligation of every class which implements a particular interface to add all the methods that has been defined in the interface itself. That is, all these 3 methods must be defined again in this particular class with same signature. Let me remind you that again, same signature. Signature can't be different at any point. Please keep that thing in mind. Understood? So let's define few variables first. Let me define a variable called int and var, and I will not initialize it, and then int and initial. I will not initialize it either, and I will call its constructor by 3, and I will not pass anything, and this dot var is equal to 0 initially, this dot initial is equal to 0. Okay, so what I have done is I have initialized these 2 variables with 0 value. Okay, so this is a class functionality, by the way. I haven't implemented any of the method yet. I'm going to do it right now. The first method is get next. So public int get next. Now I will add body to it. Now, as you can see, this particular signature is exactly same as been defined in the method. It cannot be different, oh sorry, in the interface it cannot be different. That should be of utmost priority, and showing an error because I haven't added a return statement to it yet, and we'll do it right now. So I will write functionality called var plus equal to 3 and return. Yeah, that is it. What I have done right now is, if I am going to call this particular method, it will add 3 to the initial element. That is 2 plus 3 is 5, and then 5 plus 3 is 8, and then 8 plus 3 is 11, and so on. So this particular method is adding 3 to the initial element, and then after addition it is returning you back the next element of the series. Okay, so at every step it is adding 3 and then returning you the next element of the series. Let's implement next. So it's going to be public and void and restart. That is the next method that we have defined in the interface. And what restart means is var is equal to 0, and initial is also equal to 0. That is it. Restart means everything must start from the beginning, that is the series will start printing from the beginning. Now I will get back to this method again, but first thing first, let's define the last method, that is public and void. And what's the name of last method? Is start. Okay, start. So start and int x. Let's add functionality to it. So we'll have initial equal to x, and where is, okay, we'll do it, this will do it, I think. Initial is this, and let's say where is equal to initial, that is it. Now I have defined where equal to 0. Let's not do this. Initial is equal to 0. That is it. Okay, I'm gonna remove this. Now it's done. So what I have done is, what if my series has actually started not from the 0 but from the 10? So if I push the restart button, it will actually count from the beginning, and beginning is actually 10. So my var will actually reset to initial value, whatever be the initial value is. If initial value is being set by me, that is x, then the initial value is what I have provided. Otherwise the default value of initial is 0, that is being set by me. Last thing last, let's implement this particular class. Sorry, let's make an object of this particular class. So I've created a class with main method. So let's create an object of by 3 and any name my 3 of the object, and equal to new and by 3, and no arguments will be passed as I have defined in the constructor. And let's use this for, let's use in for loop. Int I is equal to 0 and I is less than 10, and I plus plus, and let's system dot out dot print ln, and I will call the object my 3 dot and get next. That is it. So what I have done here is, first I have created an object of the class by 3. I have named it my 3. Now I want to print first 10 values of the series that is being defined by the class my3, which has taken the inspiration from the interface my series here. So this class has taken the inspiration from this. After inspiration, it has defined its own functionality of that inspiration, and now I am actually physically implementing that particular functionality. So let's try to run this. Okay, yes, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. First 10 numbers. Okay, it haven't printed 0 because in the functionality var is initially 0 and it will add 3 to it and return. So 0 will not be printed, although you can define it, you can modify it, but it's okay. I just want to show how the interface works, how class will implement that particular interface, and how you will then physically try to create an object of that particular class and start your application. So that is it. So that is the very basic example of what is an interface, how you are going to implement it, and what is the basic idea behind an interface. Okay, that is for this lecture right now. Tomorrow we are going to see more of the interfaces. Thank you. If you have any problem or any doubts, you can always, from 9 to 4:30, you can get back to me through your WhatsApp groups, and I will surely try to remove all your doubts, or we can arrange a Google Meet if you want. Thank you.